The number one reason why this little letter is so important is that the church itself, looking at this letter, discovered that it had powerful truths that we need to apply to our hearts and lives. For perhaps as the church went through hundreds of letters that the Apostle Paul wrote, they came across this one and said, oh, I know this man. I know Philemon, and we know Onesimus. For you see, years later, this slave became a man of God. He became the bishop of the church of Ephesus. See, this letter is a letter about a transformed life, of what Jesus can do with anybody. Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost. He came for dirty, rotten scoundrels. He came for the lowest of the low. He came for everyone, whether they be slaves or whether they be free, whether they are Jews or whether they're Gentiles, whether they're good or bad or rich or poor. Jesus came to seek and to save everyone who is lost. This book is the story of a transformed life. This book is significant because it tells us the power of a transformed life, that God is able to do immeasurably more than we ask or even imagine. It also tells us the power of forgiveness, for Paul calls on Philemon, the master, to not enforce the law, but to enforce grace and receive this brother back to himself as his own brother, his own flesh and blood, as if he were the Apostle Paul himself. That is true forgiveness. And then it's important because he shares with us the love of Christ that we should show to one another, forgiving one another, putting up with our weaknesses, and loving as Christ loved the church and laid down his life for it. We're going to learn some of these things as we go through the book of Philemon.